Welcome back, Magic the Gathering fans, to your weekly installment of the Top 10. Now, these are the hottest selling cards in Magic the Gathering this week from June 1st to the 7th of 2024. Stay tuned for today's video because there is some domination going on with the sales numbers. Let's take a look at what I'm talking about. Hey gang, welcome back. MTG Moxman here, your host for the weekly installment of the Top 10. Now, of course, these are the hottest selling cards in Magic, and if you enjoyed today's content, don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel for all the weekly updates on the hottest selling cards and reserve list cards. And of course, if you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to use my TCG Player affiliate link for your shopping experience. Now, let's jump right in to the number 10 card. Kind of interesting to see how many Modern Horizons 3 cards are starting to dominate even before release. But we are at the pre-release weekend, and we're starting out here at number 10 with the Drowner of Truth. Now, of course, this uncommon is a 7/6 creature unto itself, and it costs 7, 2 green, 2 blue, blue-green combinations, and 5 generic. But that's not all this card can do, and that's what's interesting. For this card that has Devoid, we also have a card that can come into play as a land. Now, this lends to a second layer of security for players who are building decks that want a little more versatility. If I need a creature, I've got a creature. If I need a land, I've got a land. And that into itself is an amazing feature that they've added for Modern Horizons 3 cards, and it really shows with the sales volume. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the number 9 card. And of course, we're staying with Modern Horizons 3, and this is Kozilek's Unsealing. This card has an average price of $2.70. It had 2,412 sales, which is $6,512.40. Now, this card does have Devoid, and it is an enchantment. It says, whenever you cast a creature spell with mana value 4, 5, and 6, create 2 0/1 Eldrazi that you can sacrifice for mana. Whenever you cast a creature spell with 7 or greater mana, you get to draw 3 cards. There's a lot going on with that uncommon enchantment, which adds to a lot of playability for players. And with the pre-release pricing and how we don't know how these cards are really going to end up yet after the 60 to 90 days, people are taking advantage of the fact this card's not a lot of money, and it does add a lot of value to people playing in Modern, in Commander. No matter how you scratch it, this card actually offers a lot for people building with Eldrazi. I gotta respect that. It's a great card, okay? Awesome, and it's a super cheap price. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the number 8 card this week, and it's Sadistic Glee. Now this one's been mentioned numerous times in the last couple of weeks. I did a video earlier this week about it. It still comes in with 2,556 sales, but unlike the video I showed from 11 days ago, which it was like, $2,200, this is now $10,000 in sales volume. That 2,556 sales is based on $4, although I'll be honest, there were moderate and heavily played copies sold. The idea though is somebody still sold copies and made a killing. As this card comes to market, you are seeing people flood in. Now, I know people are saying this is also played in Pauper and stuff, so maybe there's versatile formats it's being utilized in, but the more formats and the more popularity, well, that means there's less available stock until it gets a reprint. So it's kind of interesting to see how this is really going to end up, and if the price can stay past the 60-day mark. That's what I'm really curious about. So way to go, Sadistic Glee, and everyone else who cashed in on some serious bank. All right, guys, let's go ahead and take a look at number 7 this week. And as we go down the Yellow Brick Road here, let's not forget that we still have the Outlaws of Thunder Junction. And this is the Outcaster Trailblazer, still hanging in there. 2,615 sales. That's $10,460 because this card is exactly $4, just like we saw with Sadistic Glee. It just has more sales. Now, for 1 green, 2 generic, you get a 4/2, but when it enters a battlefield, add 1 mana of any color. That's kind of nice to be able to cast additional spells. I like some of the effects. It also has the plot ability. It's a good card, guys. Whenever another creature with power 4 or greater enters a battlefield, under your control, you draw a card. Imagine adding this with Eldrazi, with higher casting cost stuff, lower casting cost stuff. You can really get a lot of card draw going on. Like, they're really making it so the game is sped up to the point where it feels like you're not even in the same game that we started 30 years ago. I feel really old at this point when I see how quick things can go in a game. But you know what? You got to adapt or die. So I've tried to adapt. That's right. That's how we got to work this game out. I'm tired of getting slaughtered by the youngsters. I'm coming to get you. All right, guys, let's move on. Let's take a look at our next card. This is Vexing Bauble. Okay, interesting with this card. We've seen an arc in the value already. It's shown a lot of value. A lot of players are interested and a lot of sales are happening. What do we got? We got 2,708 sales. That's $17,683.24. It's averaging $6.53. It started lower, kind of averaged out, and now that we're at the pre-release weekend, it's starting to arc downwards slowly. But what are we getting for our value here? Well, the Vexing Bauble, it costs 1. It is a generic artifact, which always strikes a chord with the Moxman. Now, as this artifact comes in, it says, whenever a player casts a spell, if no mana was spent to cast it, counter that spell. It's kind of devastating, isn't it? It's brutal. But you can also sacrifice it to draw a card. So if you have no spells or spells that aren't going to be cast that you're worried about, you also get to draw a card. Nice. Now our next card is, of course, the Null Elemental Blast. Number 5, 2,934 sales. Now this card got a lot of attention, but the attention is just waning a little bit. I know a lot of pre-orders came in early for this card. Still $17,604, okay? It's still a lot of bank going out. Now, of course, this one is a colorless spell. Choose one, counter target multicolored spell, or destroy target multicolored permanent. It's very nice in Eldrazi deck. It's going to see a lot of play, but as an uncommon, people are probably having a hard time justifying the $6 to $10 mark to buy it. So we have to wait where it goes, okay? Because I like the little text here. Despite my years, I am still but a student of the multiverse. How arrogant to think yourself its master. And that's Ugin to Nicobolas. What a great line, right? All those years, untold years spent. I love it. Great card, great concept, good flavor, and a decent card for people playing colorless. I like it. All right, now our next card. You guys shouldn't be surprised by this. It's Urza's Cave. This thing started out as like a couple of bucks, and it's gone nuts. It almost made the list 2 weeks in a row, but now here's where we're at. 3,091 sales. That's $22,100.65. It's crazy for an uncommon at this level of the game. Now, the Urza's Cave, though, is an amazing card. Because of the cards that can synergize with it and allow you to go back and get it again and bring it back or copy it, it's insane. It taps for colorless, sure. But 3, sacrifice Urza's Cave, search your library for a land card, and put it onto the battlefield. That's any crazy land from Gaia's Cradle all the way through to a Tolarian Academy if you're playing with that, all the way up into Serra's Sanctum. Maybe even a Soldevi Excavations. Yeah, you guys know I love that card. I don't care. Soldevi! All the way, man. If you love this channel, you'll love Soldevi. Let's go keep going, because Urza's Cave, it ain't going nowhere. That thing's going to have crazy sales. Now, Fell of the Profane. Okay, Fell the Profane. My words get in my head. 3,310 sales, $3,674. Now, you'll notice the sales volume here is quite high for a $1.11 card. This doesn't cost a lot of money, but what's going on? Well, destroy target creature or planeswalker, and it's at instant speed, but it seems kind of slow, doesn't it? You're like, well, it's 4 mana. That's 4 mana, but what happens if there's no creatures and no planeswalkers to destroy? You don't want to sideboard this thing in. You want to use it for its land ability. So you've got a versatile card like we saw with number 10, but we can now keep this card in our deck without having to exchange things because it can deal with a problem or act as a mana source. Again, an amazing idea and concept that they brought in, and they're just leaning on it a little more heavily than I would have expected, but a lot of players love the idea because the sales tell us everything. Now, this is the Witch Enchanter coming in at number 2. 3,852 sales. That's $7,280.28. This is a 2/2 creature. When it comes into the battlefield, destroy target artifact or enchantment an opponent controls. But again, you're paying 4 for this 2/2 that can blow up basically as a disenchant. But again, you can use it for its land, and the land ability is interesting. As which blessed meadow enters the battlefield, you may pay 3 life. If you don't, it comes into play tapped. So you can actually have this thing come into play untapped if you need it, instead of casting a creature. That's kind of nice when you need that mana and you don't want it to come into play tapped. You've got options. That is something that the game is not taking away from us, and that's why cards like this are seeing such tremendous sales, because the future potential of cards like this in Commander. Okay, crazy stuff. Now, our number 1 card this week is Sink into Stupor. It's only a $2.50 card, but it definitely commands the top spot with 4,370 sales. That's $10,925 in sales volume. And it says, return target spell or non-land permanent an opponent controls to its owner's hand. Okay, but it also can act as the land. You notice the the idea here with like 3 cards being on this list that are going to give you land options, because maybe there's nothing to unsummon, maybe there's nothing you can target, they got hexproof stuff, I don't know, whatever it may be, but you still have the land. But look what it says. As it enters the battlefield, you can pay 3 life, and if you don't, it comes into play tapped. It gives you the option of coming into play untapped for the 3 life. And in Commander, 3 life doesn't mean nothing, but that mana means everything when you get it at the right time. So I gotta say, that's an amazing idea and concept. It's not a very expensive card. Do I think it should be $2.50? No, I don't. But at the same time, we're not opening cards the way we used to, so I gotta respect that. Let's get to the wrap up. Well, it's pretty obvious that Modern Horizons 3 is pretty much dominating the entire top 10. It's everywhere. The sales were all over the place, and most other cards fell off the list entirely as people get into the pre-orders, pre-releases, and get this party going. It is insane to think how many sales are going to be racked up next week at the official launch, to see how many sales show up and to see what the numbers turn into. But if this is just a sampling of what we're getting, I'm really curious to see if things like Ugin's Labyrinth and stuff are going to make that list. If we're going to see $200,000, $300,000 of sales movement on these $100 cards, it's going to be interesting. Or we're going to see a real smattering of like 500, which means it won't even cut the list. Either way, I'll probably do a section next week that shows an honorable mention to see which cards are really expensive that made that list move, because it's this video always shows the hottest selling cards, the most sales. That's how I do it. But at the same time, we shouldn't just disrespect and disregard the high value targets inside this set when a new set drops. So if they don't make the list, I'm probably going to at least mention them next week to keep you guys updated on exactly what's happening and where you can expect the price trends to go for a lot of these cards. So thanks again for tuning in. Thanks for being here on the channel. And of course, if you enjoyed today's content, don't forget to like and subscribe. We're getting really close to 22,000 subs. I think this is 85, so I think we're going to be somewhere around 50 or 65. I think somewhere in the 65 to 50. I haven't done the look to see at the time of this video recording, so we'll see. Anyway, thanks again for being here. I'll see you guys tomorrow with the top 10 reserve list edition. And of course, we have the live stream 6:30 Eastern Standard Time every Sunday. I'll see you guys then. Hey guys, a big shout out and a thank you to the fantastic patrons I have on my channel. Now, because of these patrons, let's remember the fact that because of them, daily uploaded content is made available to everybody on YouTube. And I gotta take that moment to say thank you again for being part of the team, Team Moxman, as the channel continues to grow. So thanks again for being here. Thanks to my members. I'll see you guys tomorrow with another video. You know why I'm staring. Go get your kids. Put them in front. Let me talk to them. Yeah, you. Did you help out like I talked about the other day? Ah, good for you. Awesome. Guys, welcome back to the Ramble Jamble with MTG Moxman. Pretty awesome when your kids help out, isn't it? It's amazing to think our kids can help us out. We got old bones and stuff, and they get to help us because they're young and they're vibrant, they're strong, and they're determined to get things done. Yeah, right. Guys, the sales were crazy. They were very high. Pre-releases were sold out. I'll be covering it next week. It's insane to think how well this has all gone out for Wizards of the Coast. I'm really curious to see, though, after next week's launch, when all the stuff goes out, 4 weeks after, I want to see where we're at. Because I think these sales are going to drop like a stone. But we have to wait and see. Like always, you have to wait and see. I'm just giving you guys here at the end a little bit of the Moxman mento. It's like, I think this is how it's going to go. But we'll see. You never know. I could get surprised. Thanks again for tuning in, guys. I'll see you tomorrow. We're going to be there. We'll all be there together after your kids have cleaned and you give them breakfast and gotten changed and brush your teeth and comb your hair and all that good stuff. I'm watching.